Alright, good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to my thoughts on X-Men Destiny. This game came out, I believe, last year sometime. Yeah, September last year. I wasn't really wanting to play this game or anything. I just kind of rented it. So let's get into it. I don't want to waste too much time, just idling, Alright, so starting up with the story. This game, it is an X-Men game, but you don't play as the X-Men. You play one of three characters. Each of them have their own little backstories, but it doesn't really affect the overall plot. For example, I played, her name is Aimi. She's this like Japanese teenager, and basically her father shipped her out of Tokyo or whatever, and she comes back over to the US, and they could have like experimented with that, like, why did her father send her there? I mean, obviously it was to like get her away from them, to make them look better so they don't have a mutant daughter, but later in the game they start hinting at like maybe she was sent there for a reason, but they don't really explain that, so it's just kind of, I don't know, it's a little weird. The other characters are okay. I didn't play them, but one of them's a college student who's he'll either hate mutants or like mutants to fit the situation properly, to look popular and shit. And the other guy was raised by the bad guys to hate mutants, so him becoming a mutant is probably a pretty hardcore situation. Yeah, I don't know. I played Aimi, but who knows. So basically the game starts up at a mutant rally, and I think it's the mayor of their city. He's like trying to come to like a peace meeting with Cyclops and the X-Men, and then basically the shit hits the fan. This group of people called the Purifiers attacks, and they basically start trying to kill all the mutants. And then, basically the Brotherhood gets brought into it. People are blaming the Brotherhood. What the fuck? The Brotherhood. Then they're also blaming the X-Men. So it's kind of like this retarded blind fight. Everybody's thinking they did it, but then they did it. Then who did this? Then who did that? It's very average, pretty much. Pretty much throughout the game, you fight the Purifiers. You'll find out who the real bad guy is. You'll fight a group of what the hell? They're called the U-Men. I'm not really familiar with them since I don't read the comics, but I guess they did make an appearance in the anime, the X-Men anime. From what I understand, they just take mutant genes and experiment with them and stuff like that. So, I don't know, they kind of just throw on bad guys randomly as you go through the game. But I would say it's a really average story. They try to mix it up a little bit by giving you either X-Men choices or Brotherhood choices, and ultimately what this is supposed to do is pick your allies. So you'll have a battle where you'll be fighting with Cyclops, Emma Frost, and Iceman. But if you pick the Brotherhood choice, you'd be fighting with like Toad, Pyro, and Quicksilver. It doesn't really make that much of a difference, really. Aside from your co-op partners, that's about it. Yeah, I don't know. That's it. The story's pretty average, comic book story. They try to mix it up with the choices, but they just came off really non-impactful for me. I mean, I played through twice. Once as X-Men, once as Brotherhood. All it really alters is the cutscenes slightly a little bit. So I'm not gonna approve of the story just because I'm not really into average comic book story. There's no sacrifice. There's no epicness to it. It's just a generic story. Getting into gameplay, it's a third-person action adventure beat 'em up, I guess you could say. It has some RPG elements and some platforming bits here and there. It's pretty linear for the most part. Pretty much what you do is you go through room to room, killing enemies, climbing walls, punching holes into the ground to go down into the underground areas. Yeah, it's pretty basic stuff, really. But they do try to mix it up with the RPG stuff, so every time you kill an enemy or pick up a collectible, it'll affect your character in some way. Like, for example, let's say you pick up the Wolverine mutagen. That allows you to basically do more damage. Let's say you pick up the, let's say the Iceman mutagen. That'll basically make your attacks have ice element. Or, let's say you pick up Surge. Because what you do is you have your costume slot, you have an offensive mutagen, a defensive mutagen, and then there's like some other mutagens left. One of them affects your movement, so let's say you pick Surge. She'll give you the ability to electric dash. Let's say you pick Magneto, you'll be able to fly with Magneto, like his flight ability. If you pick like Emma Frost, you'll be able to regenerate your power meter faster. I think it adds a lot more to the game. I didn't mention this, but in the beginning of the game, you're given the choice of 3 different powers. I don't know if it varies with the characters, but for me, it was shadow manipulation, energy projection, and then something that has to do with like skin. So I'm guessing like super strength or something, or it like body alters you or some shit. But basically throughout the game, you'll be given the choice of, do you want this power or this power? Like, since I went with energy projection, the second power I got was either a force field or what the hell was the other one? It was like a energy bomb or something. Then the next power was either like a big Kamehameha type beam or a scatter bomb. And it goes on. You get like I think 5 abilities throughout the whole game. Yeah. I mean, I pretty much just relied on the same combos throughout the whole game, just XXY for large crowds of enemies, and then if I was fighting 1 or 2 enemies at a time, I'd just mash X button pretty much. In that sense, it is pretty average. You know, gameplay is probably, yeah, I'd say it's an average beat 'em up really. The combos don't really vary. Other features that I can point out, the outfits. There's actually quite a bit of outfits. At least from what I saw, at least 20 that I picked up. I think it's more around 30 or so. The mutagens add some variety. There's challenges, which challenges are really weird because you have to be on different sides to do different ones. So like, if you play through Brotherhood, you'll get 14 of the 15 challenges. But if you play X-Men, you'll get that one challenge that you missed. So it's a little weird how they did that. I thought there was these group fighting parts where it's like you and Quicksilver and Colossus and Surge and just like a big bunch of superheroes just whooping ass. Those parts are pretty fun. I already mentioned the X-Men or Brotherhood choices don't really affect much. Yeah, I'm gonna approve of gameplay though, mainly because it was pretty decent for the first playthrough was 5 hours. That was all the collectibles and stuff though. Second playthrough, which was kind of just a speed playthrough, that was about 2 hours 40 minutes. Wasn't too bad. If you're an average player just playing it for fun, you'll probably beat it anywhere from 3 to 6 hours, I'd say. Alright, so going over to sound design. The soundtrack is very average. I'm not even gonna mention it because it was so fucking average. The voice acting fit the series pretty well. They used a lot of the past X-Men voice actors. So you know, you've got Yuri Lowenthal, you've got Stephen Bloom, you've got Nolan North, you've got Kari Walgreen. You've got pretty big cast of characters that I recognized. I will disapprove of the sound though because there's not enough talking. What they do with these talking moments is they make it so it's like an RPG where you'll be talking to them like face to face. You have like 3 choices you can pick from. Pick choice. Very boring little moments, but at least they do have good voice acting. But overall, the sound effects and the soundtrack doesn't really do anything for the sound, so I will disapprove of that. Likes, dislikes. Alright, so I actually have some likes for this game. Alright, so first one, stage select screen. It actually shows your stat progression, so it'll say like, you have this many collectibles out of this many collectibles on this level, this level, this level. It shows you for 8 of the levels, it shows you all the stats, which is very good. And also the collectibles serve as a point in this game. So you know, picking up outfits will give you different small abilities. Picking up mutagens will give you new abilities. It's pretty cool. And finally a dislike. You can't skip talking to people or cutscenes. This is kind of boring, especially in my speed playthrough I did, where you have to talk to people. You have to keep talking. You can't hit any button. You gotta talk. And eventually you'll have cutscenes that you can't skip either. So it kind of sucks. Going over the overview, I think it's a pretty decent game. On GameFly it's about $10. GameStop sells it for about $30 or $40, which is completely overpriced at this point. I'd say it is a fun game, especially if you're a comic fan or like an X-Men fan at all. It might be worth a pickup or a rent at least. But ultimately, this game, it's a fun achievement game. You know, it took me 15 hours to get all the achievements. I enjoyed it. It wasn't anything bad, but it was pretty average. So, with that said, I'd say rent it first. If you're a fan, maybe buy it.